November is a time of pivotal change for humanity. And that doesn't just mean for the collective, that means for each and every one of us. This is what my guides have been saying for the last couple of weeks. Hi, I'm Paige, Energy Healer and Channel, and this is your November Energy Update. So let's talk about how we got to this point. This has been a long year of tremendous change. I've talked about this in every one of my energy updates, and you can look at all of those if you want to go back to see what was going on at any particular time. What we've come into since September, including October, is a much, much slower period where we're finally resting into a place that may feel new, that may feel like it's not what you expected, changes that you were not anticipating for yourself this year, that maybe you didn't feel you were quite ready for, but you were pushed into. Now those things have been settling. So we've been doing a lot of taking stock and looking at where we find ourselves. November has not really been much different in terms of how quickly things are moving. They're still quite slow, although they are starting to pick up just a bit. The retrograde energy is starting to move out. If you follow astrology, you can see that we had a lot of retrograde energy, and now that's starting to shift. So we are starting to get a little bit more momentum. However, you may feel like it's a period of hurry up and wait. Like I've made this change. I know where I'm going. I've come to terms with what's happened in my life, where I am now, what I want going forward. Now I'm ready for something to move, and it's just not quite there yet. So hold tight, it's coming. But this may be a slow end of the year for us. It is time to really take into consideration all of the different aspects of where you are and how you relate in your life, how you relate to others, how you're relating to different situations, and how you are going to move forward. And that brings me to my next point, which is something that came up in the Metaton channeling in October. So I want to talk about that just a little bit, to go back over the information that came through in that channeling, because there was a really clear message, and it's an important message for all of us right now. So this is the free channeling that I hold. It's a channeling and frequency transmission. I hold those every month on the Insight Timer, so anyone can join those. You can look for me there on the Insight Timer. There's a link also I'll put in the description below to find those. It's an incredible opportunity to join together with other people in a moment of receiving energy and really getting a big push forward. And you can listen to the recording here. If you miss it and you're not able to make that time, you can always listen to the recording and you will receive the frequencies. One quick note, I have no control over the ads in those videos. Unfortunately, there are ads. YouTube has removed all of the controls for ads. I don't make any money off of those ads, nothing, and I have zero control over the ads. So my apologies. I know it's an inconvenience. It's frustrating for me as well. Please direct your complaints to YouTube. Okay, so what came through that was so important in that message was that it's time to choose, and this was emphasized over and over. So when that information comes in, as the channel, I'm synthesizing in the moment different words and sensations and images and all kinds of information that's coming in and putting that into a message. What came through in such a powerful way over and over was it's time to choose. Each and every one of you must choose how you're going to move forward. And that means that now is the time to choose. And we've been getting these pushes, this sort of gradual push. It's time to consider this. It's time to consider that. Think about what you want. Visualize the future. Create your vision for your perfect life, for your perfect world. Because when we do this, we create our reality. We've been told over and over in those channelings that now it's easier than ever before to do this, to create your reality. That because of the shifts and change in the energy and in our energy, in our form, which I'll talk about in a minute, we're able to sort of mold our reality the way that we want to so much more easily than we ever have been. So they're emphasizing that, and they're emphasizing that we each have a choice to make. You'll know what your choice is. Your choice is about how you're going to move forward in your life. You've probably been faced with some moments of reckoning, some moments of difficult decisions that you weren't anticipating for yourself for this year. How you move forward, how you express in those moments, how you take a stand when you need to, is all part of the choice that you're making for yourself and for the collective. So this is something to consider. That may seem like a really big concept, and trying to boil it down and land the plane and put it into something that feels like your day-to-day life might seem difficult, but sit with it. Just sit with it and see what comes up for you, because there's something there for everyone. And think about how you are in your life, your values, how you've been living your life, how you are with others, how you relate to others. All of that may be coming into question in some way or another. Now, as far as our internal shifts and changes, this is another thing that came up in that meditation. And this has to do with geometry. So this was really fascinating. One of the frequencies that came through, and there are always 3 frequencies that are delivered in those meditations. They're different every single time, and it accompanies the changes that we're going through. So I received the information about the frequencies the day of the meditation. It's all coming directly from Metaton. And the frequencies in that one, the one in particular that I want to talk about was the 6666, and it's gigahertz that's coming through. That frequency came through in July as well, and then it was repeated in October. And what's really interesting about the October meditation is that out of 3 frequencies, 2 of them were the 6666. So it repeated within that actual transmission, which is pretty unique. That's the first time that that's happened. But what's really fascinating about that frequency is what it represents. So what Metatron has said about that frequency is that it represents a perfect, double repeating, interdimensional transdodecahedron. What that means, and I had to look all of this up because that was the channeling that came through verbatim. I had to go back and do a little research myself. The transdodecahedron is formed when there's a transformation of shape between a dodecahedron and an icosahedron, and as they are moving through that transformation, they pass through a form that's called the rhombicosidodecahedron, which is a fascinating form, and I definitely encourage you to look that up. There are some really cool videos here on YouTube about rhombicosidodecahedrons. But basically what that means is that we are shifting and changing. Our energetic form and structure is shifting and changing on a fundamental level. It doesn't feel like we're done yet. It feels like we are in the middle of a process, but this speaks to the point of how it's easier for us to manifest. It's easier for us to be the creators of our reality. Things will move more quickly. It's also a lot easier for you to remove things. If we're thinking in terms of healing traumas, patterns from your past, those things are releasing much more easily. So I always talk a little bit about what I see in sessions, because there are trends, and the trends always follow, the bigger trends in humanity and what's happening, and the astrology. And the trends that I've been seeing over the last few weeks are really a continuation of what I talked about in October. It's these bigger shifts that are reaching down into some of the deepest, most fundamental pieces of ourselves, pieces that, early childhood experiences, often negative early childhood experiences, traumas and whatnot, that would have set the tone for how you experience yourself, how you experience others, how you experience the world, how you relate to all of those things. And those big pieces are releasing, and they're releasing very easily. That change is often happening in some of the bigger parts of the field, which means that it's really, it's not just about your momentary shift and relief, or these are a little bit hard to describe, but when we have these shifts out in the field, it's really a bigger shift in the self, maybe even the blueprint of your life, and how your life is going to move forward from now on. So that's something else I wanted to mention. Those changes are happening very easily right now. So this is a time to take advantage of, and again, make clear choices in all areas of how you want to move forward. Maybe it's time to really release something. And note if you've been resisting a change. If it's been coming your way and you know it, you see it, you feel it, maybe you've been pushed, maybe it's in relationships, maybe it's in your work, maybe it's in something else, or maybe it's just internal. You're feeling a big change. Don't resist the changes. Allow them to move. Allow the energy to do what it's doing. Assume that it's for your highest good. Assume that it's pushing you towards something better, and see where it takes you. But don't try to cling to what was, because it will only be more difficult for you. We're moving into a very intense period for the rest of the month of November, and I highly recommend Pam Gregory's astrological reports to really get a sense of what all of that means. In fact, the full moon video that she just made is excellent, and it goes into detail on all of the different aspects that are going to be happening the second half of November that will make this month a particularly intensive month for all of us. So find your core, find your center, find your alignment, stay grounded, use your energy techniques. Look on my YouTube page here for all kinds of energy techniques, just to keep yourself balanced and focused on where you're going. And you don't want to be, thinking about, again, all of these influences we're going to have. Astrological influences have a very big effect on us energetically. So they are going to create push and pull and tension. And if you are wavering, if you aren't clear, if you aren't grounded and centered, you get pushed and pulled a whole lot more. It can bring up a lot of reactivity. It can bring up difficult emotional situations. It could bring up explosive situations that you probably don't want to find yourself in. So you might want to take some time to see, what's coming up for you if you're not feeling balanced, if you're not feeling grounded. Address those things now. Think about them. Bring them into your conscious awareness so that you don't get blindsided at some point this month. Okay, so that was a lot. Again, there's a lot for you to check out. Do listen to that October channeling if you haven't already, because you can still receive those frequencies. Again, that's the rhombicosidodecahedron, that frequency of transformation of the energetic composition of the self. Again, I'm Paige, energy healer and channel. Thank you for listening. Please do like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and please do post your comments and questions below. I'm happy to answer them. I'll see you next month.